Well, hello there. This is Shane from Shane's Reviews, and I hope you are having a great day today. I might have to go a little bit on the ASMR side because of how close I have the microphone. And the whole reason for that has to do with the construction in the building. They are making progress, they're getting ahead, and that's okay. It's just there's going to be some sound, and I'm trying to eliminate that by getting close to the mic. In case I haven't already said it, today's book is going to be Roadkill, which is an Audible original, and it was wrote by Dennis E. Taylor and narrated by Ray Porter. And I really like the way that Ray Porter narrates. He does a good job. The production quality of this book is really good. It doesn't have any of the jankiness that sometimes you'll find, like editor's notes or pause for 7 seconds or these kinds of things. They're just not in this recording, which is beautiful and great. Now, let's talk about this because this was a unexpected little gem, as it was. Essentially, there's three main characters, and they're all kind of college-y students. And so the story starts out by one of them running over something that he equates to being a Sasquatch or a giant squirrel or Chewbacca or whatnot, which happens to be a alien presence on their world. So first contact, here we go. Let's run them over with a truck and just see how it goes. Well, it's what happened. So the book goes into some discovery type things, and by the end of the book, we do find out some fairly interesting things. There's several different sects, of course, because you would have different galaxies, different universes, different solar systems that might support life, and so maybe not everybody would be the same, but there is the divergent evolution type of a deal where mostly the same, just maybe a little bit more this or a little bit more that. And they do have a incredible amount of technology, not so much that they're willing to share. They really don't want to give their stuff away until after civilizations reach a threshold and then go past it. And that threshold would be, do you kill yourself through the Fermi paradox? Do you have your complete wipeout of the civilization? Or do you get past the bottleneck of faster than light travel and actually figure out how to be good stewards of your planets and how to take care of each other and if you would be a good fit or not? So, I mean, the way that it's thought out, it's very not alien, it's very human, but the book's not supposed to be a hard science book. The book is supposed to be a campy thing. It's supposed to be fun. And Dennis did a good job of writing this in the way of which it would really shine on this platform. The way the characters interact with each other, the way that there's these stipulations and rules that are put into place, it all kind of adds up to a really loose net that he stays within. But I think that kind of sparked a little bit of creativity for him. I absolutely love the way that he treated some of the aliens in the way that they present themselves or the way that they talk. And of course, with us being humans and wanting to compare things to everything, Dennis also included whenever they are talking to the ship about these different alien species and how they behave, Star Trek references. You've got Klingons, which is kind of like earbuds, uh, and then you've got Vulcans and Ferengi and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they're describing these creatures and their alien habits in the way of which it would make more sense with Star Trek. So beautiful little job on that one. It was comical and it added just the right touch of it's still campy, it's still aware that it's campy. We're not taking ourselves too serious, even though the consequences for the people that were involved could have been really big and really bad. So I applaud the efforts that he took on the structuring and thinking things out before he put them down to paper. Now, I know that some people might say that these characters sound really familiar, like Veek, but Veek is a different author altogether. So if you were kind of feeling that the way that I was kind of feeling that, don't feel bad because Peter Clines is an incredible author as well. His tends to be more serious. It has more consequences, I think, for the characters that are involved, and the subject matter is so much more grandiose whenever it comes to like eldritch gods coming in or etc. So I mean, not necessarily the same characters at all. It's just it kind of had that same feel for me. I kept expecting that whole thing to really just engage, but it never did because it's a completely different character, just similar in similar in mannerisms and the way that they were wrote, but certainly not the same character, especially since it's not the same author. Just saying. Anyway, so I digress. Let's move on. So the whole story starts with one of the main characters hitting an alien, and then he happens to find the ship with his friends. And once he finds the ship, we go through this really neat story of the ship realizing that it was conscious, that it had been hacked by its previous owner, and then begrudgingly befriending the people that have took it on or have boarded it. And all the little things that they have to do to try to prevent espionage or prevent people from finding this, that, and the other. It's a good touch because there's all these little technical things that people just wouldn't think about. Like, have you turned off geotagging on your phone so that whenever you take a picture, it doesn't have the actual coordinates of where you were? All these sorts of things play into the book. And there's also some real world applications. When the story opens up, we have Jack, which has hit this alien. And then he gets a hold of his friends, like I mentioned before, Natalie and Patrick. And Natalie is the one that I was referring to that would be thought of kind of like a weak character from another author altogether. But Patrick has kind of got that hometown hero syndrome going on where he's forever trying to drive as fast as he can to get from point A to point B, etc. But all three of these friends are incredibly intelligent people. They're not your average 20-somethings. And I'm not saying that to put 20-somethings down, but these people would be, well, for instance, Jack was rejected from MIT because of his ID getting hacked, and then them using his ID to do things nefarious on the MIT network, which caused a lot of problems for MIT and hence getting him kicked out of the program altogether. Natalie, she's more of a research diver, like a deep, thorough diving individual whenever it comes to trying to find information, etc. So there's our three mains, and they work really well off of each other whenever it comes to like the comedy and how they actually interact and joke around with each other. And even whenever they're being serious, there's a good gel there with those three mains. And then we have our fourth, which is the ship. And I don't want to tell you a whole lot about the ship, but the ship is done really well in its narration and its communication and in its attitude. Just think of it as a fussy robot that really doesn't want to do anything, but wants to do everything it can on the same page, if that makes sense. It's just that he doesn't want to be bothered, really. But he also doesn't want to be alone. Go figure. But I digress. So the story is more of a man versus alien because whenever he finds this ship and all these other things, they start going out into the universe or our solar system to visit with the moon and Mars. But during this time, there's information that the ship leaks. Like there's possibly a problem if I go into faster than light travel because you might get us killed if I do that. So maybe we don't want to do it. And so then he begrudgingly tells them about these other people that are aliens from another place that aren't necessarily in the core of their existence, and more along the lines of mercenaries that want to take over planets by setting them up for failure or pushing them over the gate to failure so that they have failed the initial test of the FTL bottleneck, as they refer to it, and then resource all their resources. They want to take the asteroid belts and get just every little mineral they can from a solar system. So that's their interest in making humanity fail. And it kind of coalesces and gets really big really quick because these people end up finding out these aliens from another place, the bad place, ends up figuring out that they've been kind of outed in a way. So they decide that they're going to attack Jack on pretty much every front that they can. And it ends up with them getting into space to get away from Earth so that people aren't getting hit by like rockets and buildings, etc. And then we have that moment where the ship finally is like, oh, okay, you're all right. And it has to do with a suggestion that Jack had made. And it was kind of funny to see that whole scene play. So whenever you get to there, I want to know if you guys and gals enjoy that as much as I did, because it wasn't necessarily a fist pump, but I can tell you that it was certainly a excited, yeah, it's about time. Let's get this going. And then it does. It opens up really quick. There's a whole regalia that comes in from the Foundation, which is their core, I guess. And so then they have to face the consequences of one hitting another alien with a vehicle and participating in, involuntary manslaughter, as it were. And then there's the issue with the ship, because even though the ship is an AI and it is self-conscious, it's not supposed to be. And so usually what they do with something like that is completely wipe the ship out so that it has no memory. But there's a problem, because it has demonstrated that it is self-aware by lying to protect itself. Their argument from the Foundation was that it would take a mind that is self-aware to do this, so we don't want to kill it because it wasn't a thing it did. And the problem with it is now it's going to have its own opinions and all this kind of a thing. If we take it back, it's going to be an embarrassment. So what do we do? I do know what we do part, but I'm not telling you because I don't want to give it away. Maybe the ship gets wiped anyway. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not telling. But as far as this goes, if this happens to be just a one-off book, if there's not another thing on this book ever again, I'd be happy with it. If there was a series that came from this, I'd be happy with that too, because the characters and the interplay and the roles that have been set up for the way that the characters can interact with each other, aliens to aliens or humans to aliens, etc. It's very interesting to me. It wasn't your standard interaction type thing. That's what I enjoyed the most out of it, is the way that the different characters were indeed different characters, and everybody that was in a particular sect behaved the same in that particular sect. So that was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Is it worth your time, efforts, and energy? If you happen to be able to get a copy of it, you like space and aliens and technological type things, I think this book would be right up your alley. You would enjoy it. So I will certainly say it's worth your efforts and your time and your money. I know for myself, I'm probably going to go back to this a couple of times before I read the next book, just so I can catch those little details I might have missed. But overall, it was fun. It was a good ride. It kept me going. There really wasn't a whole lot of slow pacing, with the exception of where it needed to be. And beyond that, I can't say enough good about it. I enjoyed it. So Dennis E. Taylor, you get the clap award. So there is the clap. There should be an award falling down. Yep, right there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have made it this far, you certainly are a personal hero of mine. And since you are, if you wouldn't mind, would you do me a little favor by tapping on that subscribe button and maybe hitting the bell so you know the next time we have a video go out, right? Now, I'm not sure which one of the videos that's coming in that you will pick, but if you happen to pick that one up there, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.